of issues brought up earlier. I think the first one that's really interesting to me is this idea of increasing personal income during the period of the Richardson administration, and especially during the recessionary period. One thing we know about New Mexico, and us economists of New Mexico know for sure, is that we don't experience the declines, nor do we experience the booms of the rest of the national economy. And that is because of government spending. We in New Mexico are protected from the vagaries of the national economy by the constancy of particularly federal government spending. We don't feel the lows, we don't feel the highs, and so when everybody else declines precipitously, we just decline a little bit, and we increase in the rankings. There is our increase in the personal income ranking right there. We didn't feel it as hard because of government spending. In fact, Christine Romer was quoted just last year speaking to Congress, saying that the reason the national recovery was going so slow and the economy remained so fragile was because of budget cuts by states. She noted that state government spending is the primary driver of aggregate demand, and the reason for that is that when states spend money, they spend it on education and healthcare. It flows directly into the economy, directly into the pockets of working people, directly into vulnerable rural communities with high rates of poverty. But when we raise money through increased revenue measures, we do it in a very diffuse way. When we raise taxes on higher income people, we do it in a way that takes money not just out of spending, but out of saving and investing. Higher income people don't spend every cent they have like regular moderate income people. In addition to that, we do that by taxing corporations and corporate shareholders who aren't in our state. So there are lots of reasons that state revenue drives economic recovery in the short term and will move us and our entire national economy in the right direction. I'm also concerned a little bit about the red herrings regarding efficiency. You know, it's one thing to talk about efficiency in government, and as a state government leader, I suppose, for the last 6 years, I spent the last 3 years cutting budgets. We'd sit and we'd trim and we'd trim and we'd get another order from DFA to cut contracts, but there weren't any contracts left to cut. And we were told not to fill positions, and we had a vacancy rate in my department of over 25%. That we got about as much efficiency out of those folks as we possibly could, and morale was perilously low, and services were declining. When people talk about efficiency in government right now, they're talking about cutting administration and education. $30 million cut in administration and education. It's not possible. The cuts that were in administration over the last 3 years came out of the classroom. Fewer teachers, larger classes. The larger school districts are already running at very high levels of efficiency, and the smaller school districts, there's a grant fund put in place by the Martinez administration to pay for them to maintain their administration, their very small administration. So the idea of cutting administration and increasing efficiency is simply a red herring. We've been doing that for the last 3 years. Any further cuts we make are going to be further cuts to state services that will hit state residents and state workers and vulnerable state populations where it hurts. There's no more fat to cut in this budget, sadly. Thank you.